Today is a terrible day. If you pull back and look at this thing, strength versus weakness, a bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden.
Yes, a bullet couldn't stop. That's the communist CNN commentator, Democrat, Obama White House, Van Jones. A bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Joe Biden. He said lamentingly, poor Van Jones. A bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Joe Biden. He had to cancel his Las Vegas thing. His buddy Fredo was there to greet him, brought in the girls. His Vegas trip. Womp, womp, womp. Yeah, Joe Biden. And the Democrats, they got to save democracy. They had Joe Biden as their candidate during all the primaries, and Joe Biden won. And now the Democrats are going to yank the Democratic rug out from beneath the Democratic Party in the name of saving democracy. As I've been saying, paraphrasing the line from the Vietnam War and the Associated Press, the Democrats had to destroy democracy in order to save it. Just as the famous Peter Arnett was the reporter, the line went from an anonymous American military officer, "We had to destroy the village in order to save it." Whether the line was ever actually uttered by an American military officer remains a mystery to this day. But let me get to another story that is just breaking. Behind the curtain, and I've been using the behind the curtain, maybe they're listening to the show. Behind the curtain, they love their colons, top Democrats now believe Biden will exit, and it's just a matter of time. It's the left-wing Jim Vandehey and the left-wing Mike Allen. They like MSNBC. They are among the few viewers of MSNBC, but Axios reporting that Joe Biden's time is short, that the Democrat power brokers, and I've been saying for some time now, it is time to discover who's more powerful, the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the country, the most powerful man in the world, or the Democrat Party backroom machine. And I think what we're learning, well, we'll learn soon enough. So from Vandehey and, is it Vandehey or Vandehey? I just want to sing like Bally High, Bally High. So Jim Vandehey and Mike Allen typing on behalf of their party, the Democrat Party, which they adore, which they love, which they have sacrificed their integrity for. So the West Wing told us, this is the people at Axios, if Biden wanted to stay, he'd be impenetrable. Impenetrable. That's what they say. That's not true. Thanks to the liberal leaders and the Congressional Black Caucus. But his closest friends believe he's fought the good fight and will succumb to reality. The West Wing told us. That's what they write in Axios. When they say the West Wing told us, that's people inside of Biden's inner circle. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat, New York, delivered a similar, if more subtle, message to Biden that it is time to go. Former President Obama has spoken loudly with his silence. He's spoken loudly with his silence. It's like a religious cult. And his former aides trashing Biden in public. Bill and Hillary Clinton are doing what Obama's doing. So are their former aides. We increasingly hear top Biden aides, including ones who initially urged him to fight on after his disastrous debate on June 27th, 21 days ago, are saying it's now when, if not, Biden announces he's not running. Now, the Democrats, Vandehey and Allen, Democrat insiders, were hoping to avoid this. They love and respect Biden. They all say that. That's from the Talking Points memo, too. We love Joe Biden. We admire Joe Biden. We thank him for his centuries of service to the party of slavery. Remarkable stuff. As we told you in Behind the Curtain column 18 days ago, a Democratic official said Biden will not be dragged off the stage. The goal is to let him walk off the stage. But he wouldn't take the hints, loud as they got. So it's come to this. He's forcing people who like him and respect him to resort to trying to shame him, a well-known Democrat close to the hoo-ha said. Now, this is Joe Biden's, and it will be as tacky as he wants it to be, I guess, the swan song as he is forced out the door by, the usual suspects. Extraordinary times, extraordinary things. No doubt about it. Joe Biden. They're going to have to drag him out, and that's okay with him and with Dr. Jill Biden because, it's not easy being such a schmuck. And, a schmuck usually meets where the schmucks end. Doesn't a schmuck? Yes, he does. Remarkable stuff. I just played that Van Jones soundbite for you as well of the Vanster and on CNN. And there's more from Van Jones as well. Really remarkable things going on in the American political universe. President Trump, who was shot in the head on Saturday by a would-be assassin, giving his keynote address at the Republican convention tonight, Thursday night, the last night of the convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Joe Biden. Now, I guess, Joe Biden could upstage President Trump by announcing today that he's leaving, right? That'd be an interesting political twist on all this. Then the news media would spend all their time talking about Joe Biden stepping down because they love and admire him. But now top Dems believe Biden will exit. Several top Democrats privately tell Axios that the rising pressure of party congressional leaders and close friends will persuade President Biden to decide to drop out of the presidential race as soon as this weekend. The 81-year-old president, now self-isolating with COVID, remains publicly dug in, but privately he's resigned to mounting pressure, bad polls, and untenable scrutiny, making it impossible to continue his campaign, the Democrats tell Vandehey and Allen. The private message distilled to its bluntest form, the top leaders of his party, his friends, and key donors believe he can't win, holding back $90 million in one case, and one case alone. Can't change public perception of his age and acuity. That's a big word this month. And can't deliver congressional majorities. Now, they're afraid that they're going to lose the House, and the Republicans will hold the House, that they're going to lose the Senate, the Republicans will win the Senate, and they're going to lose the White House to President Trump, who they've depicted as Hitler and a fascist and the end of democracy in a nutshell. Pretty amazing stuff. President is being told that if he stays in, former President Trump could win in a landslide and wipe away Biden's legacy and Democrats' hopes in November. It's all about down with dope and up with hope, right? Pretty pathetic stuff. The president to step aside as a candidate has been rising to intolerable levels. The pressure has, especially over the past few days. Democrats fully expect polls after the Republican National Convention to show a possible blowout that could bring down Democrats in Congress, too. His choice is to be one of history's heroes. He's going to be a history hero if he steps down now. Steps aside. Or to be sure of the fact that there'll never be a Biden presidential library. One of the president's close friends told us. He could be a hero, or to be sure of the fact that there'll never be a President Biden presidential library, close friends told us. I pray, when they pray to Satan, though, with the after-school Satan clubs and everything. I pray that he does the right thing. He's headed that way. Yesterday's Associated Press poll showing nearly 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to withdraw from the presidential race, ricocheted through the White House and through the halls of Congress. A panic pressure campaign is pounding Biden, and it has been relentless and coordinated. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told Biden in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, I read this from a different story earlier, on Saturday, that the day of the assassination attempt on President Trump, that it would be best if he dropped out, ABC News first reported. Democrats on Capitol Hill want him out and worry they'll lose winnable seats if he does not step aside. And former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a mastermind of the campaign to get Biden out, told Biden that he could destroy Democrats' chances of taking back the House. We're told she's also worried about donations drying up because, money. Also, the well-known racist anti-Semite minority leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat from New York, mentored by Professor Leonard Jeffries, a notorious anti-Semite, as a young man, delivered a similar, more subtle message to Biden. Former President Barack Obama has spoken loudly with his silence, I said, and former aides trashing Biden in public. Hillary Clinton showing better numbers in the polls because she believes she can still win the White House. Man, oh, Manischewitz, I am telling you. All right, now, with that from Axios saying that they expect him to drop out this weekend, the pressure campaign from Obama and Hillary to everybody, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden must go, not just to fulfill my prediction, but because the Democrat Party wants to hold on to power. They don't want to lose the House and put the Senate in Republican hands with Donald Trump in the White House. And then he, how are they going to wreck the Supreme Court if the Republicans hold on to everything? And then, of course, Donald Trump would get another Supreme Court pick and maybe two, which would be hilarious. And it's too late for Sonia Sotomayor to announce her retirement because then we go to the Harry Reid rule and we have to wait till after the presidential election because Joe Biden in the last year of his presidency would not get the pick in the Senate, right? But Schumer would try to give it the bums rush through, of course. Then there'd be a big fight over that because the left is here. They're not liberals. They're not Democratic. They are the left. Speaking of the left, Van Jones of the Obama administration and CNN and the Communist Party. Nobody's asked him lately if he still identifies as a communist, but he used to self-identify as a communist. And Van Jones, we started with one Van Jones soundbite back there a little bit, and here's Van Jones again.
You've got the nominees of this party getting their butts kissed. Biden's getting his butt kicked by his own party. The Democrats are coming apart. The Republicans are coming together. That's what's happening.
That's what's happening. He can see. He was watching it on TV there. Maybe he was even in Milwaukee, unlike MSNBC, for the Republican convention. The Republicans are coming together. The Democrats are coming apart. They don't like that. They're not fans of that at all. Joyless Reed on. Actually, let's take a break here because I've got Joyless Reed for you, and then I've got JD Vance at the Republican convention last night, and lots more from the Republican convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin last night. The Democrats have not been rioting. They did have their Jew haters out on the street. They had a lot of anti-Israel people out on the streets of Milwaukee. But surprisingly, they didn't get especially violent. There was the one guy with the AK-47 and the ski mask. He was a Democrat. He was arrested. And the news media really didn't cover that because why would they? It's just the Republican National Convention. An AK-47 and a ski mask. Not really a big story, right? But I've got tons coming up with the time we have remaining, and we are at 888-630-9625. Well, when Joe Biden's lost Van Jones, he's lost the Communist Party, USA, and that's a problem. Joyless Reed is a racist, and Joe Scarborough this morning telling Joe it's time to go, too. That means he's got to go. It's the only show he watches is where he gets what he calls news. Joyless Reed last night on the presidential race.
These two men are both elderly. Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter.
That's made up. That's
Weird
a lie.
situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing?
Yeah, he had COVID, and the other man was shot in the head, and just as good, same. And 9 seconds for a photo op is completely fabricated. Comcast and NBC should be canceled. Joyless Reed.
He's strong enough, older than Trump, to have gotten something that used to really be fatal to people his age. So if he does fine out of it and comes back and is able to do rallies, isn't that exactly the same?
It should.
I mean, it's not exactly the same. It's not the same incident, but it's an elderly man coming through out of an illness.
It should.
Yeah, it should. It should be exactly the same. If you're very severely brain damaged and abused as a child and hit in the head so many times that your brain doesn't function as designed by God. It used to be fatal, especially if Governor Cuomo in New York threw you into a facility for older people. Isn't the same? Joe Biden has the Wuhan Red Death out of Wuhan, China, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, funded in part with U.S. tax dollars, thanks to Anthony Fauci. All things that she lied about 1,000 times. And it used to be fatal. And then President Trump fast-tracked the vaccines, and so he doesn't get any credit for any of that. And Joe Biden says you get the vaccine and you don't get the virus. He got 20 vaccines and boosters, and he still got the virus again, I believe, for the third time, right? And he went to the NAACP, where he's probably a one-man super spreader, going around infecting African-American people, particularly susceptible to the Chinese virus. Just don't call it the China virus. Democrats get very upset about that because they love slave labor, just like in the 1860s when they really loved slavery so much. I've got Senator Vance coming up, and an update on the AK-47 guy in Milwaukee.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
I mentioned Mo Yarborough, Morning Joke. It's the only news that Joe Biden watches because he's so limited in his intellectual capacity, and he likes being lied to and spanked, as it turns out. Now, let's go to Joe Scarborough this morning because he's trying to deliver the message. He's a representative of the party and nothing more, the Democratic Party. Former Republican. Boy, did he give that up. And here's Joe Scarborough this morning with a message for Joe Biden.
Joe Biden's been an extremely successful president.
That's a lie.
I will say, though, when you're told by members of Congress that they're losing, they're going to lose the House and the Senate if he stays on the ticket, when you're told by members of Congress who have seen the polls that you're losing swing states, and that your numbers are going down in swing states, in states like Virginia, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Minnesota are now in play.
They're now in play. Talks like a Valley girl, among other problems that he has. But he is married to his semi-inflatable flotation device of a third wife, who has a mind meld with people in North Korea. Not a bright person. Joe Scarborough, this is how you deliver the message to Joe Biden, is he doesn't know how to work the DVR or anything. Dr. Jill has to wheel him over in his chair with his bib on, and his feet swinging back and forth. And after they watch an episode of Hazel, they go to Morning Joe, and Joe heard this morning.
And when your top fundraiser over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years is telling you the money's gone, the donors have all gone away, you know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do
and admire
the right thing.
They all love him and admire him.
This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out.
Going. You're going to lose the Senate in the House, and Trump is going to get 4 more picks on the Supreme Court. Should really just get 3 more. They should impeach the 3 Democrat nominees to the court, remove them from the court. This is what the Democrats want to do. We, of course, should not do that because we're not communists or fascists like these people who have no respect for the Constitution or the law or Western civilization and have contempt for the United States of America, our systems and practices, our laws, our customs and traditions. But other than that, you know, I'm sure they make good neighbors when they burn your flag and tear up the signs in your front yard because the Democrats. Oh yeah, speaking of which, the guy arrested in Milwaukee with the AK-47 turns out he's a Democrat. That's really the bottom line on the story. The armed man wearing a ski mask and gloves and a sweatshirt and black pants, a ski mask and gloves. It's July in Milwaukee, right? Armed man wearing ski mask near RNC did not have a permit to carry. That comes as a big surprise, doesn't it? Homeland Security and U.S. Capitol Police arrested a masked man near a security checkpoint after finding an AK-47 pistol in his bag. Sure. What's the problem with that? So they arrested the guy a couple blocks from the convention center, 21-year-old Donnell Tinsley. And here's a picture of him in his mugshot. He's an African-American man, and a special agent opened he had a backpack hanging, looked like it was heavy from a distance. So a special agent opened the bag zipper, immediately observed a concealed AK-47 pistol in the backpack, miniature version of the AK-47. And he told investigators he did not have a permit to carry concealed. I still don't think you'd carry an AK-47 concealed, but maybe I'm wrong. So the criminal complaint said he had gloves with rubber fingertips. He had a flashlight. He had a Scream movie mask in addition to the ski mask, right? And the defense asked for a competency evaluation because he's a Democrat, so his brain may not pass muster, just like Joe Biden's. You know, we should have the same competency evaluation for Joe Biden since he's president of the United States and everything. The criminal complaint does not explain why Tinsley was masked, you know, a ski mask and then a Scream mask, illegally carrying an AK-47 near the perimeter. Well, why would that be important? Just amazing stuff. All right, now, so many things to get to. Joe Biden stepping down or not stepping down. My pal Dave, my friend Dave, he said, I don't want Biden to step down. I want to see him defeated at the polls. I want him defeated, humiliated, embarrassed, mortified, and disgraced by losing to Trump in a landslide. That's what I'd like to see, ! Which is nice. Wah, wah, wah. He deserves a huge defeat for what he and Obama have done to our great country. I think that I understand that completely. But, you know, there's another funny article today that made me laugh, that the Democrats are pushing to get rid of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris at the same time. They want to get rid of both of them at the same time because, you know, they're very upset. And they're afraid that they'll lose with Kamala also. And so they want to get rid of both of them because it's all about the power and the glory. Isn't that that not like a Hitler film? Yeah, the power and the glory, and the just amazing stuff. Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't see that story. I had that story in front of me earlier, but now I don't see it. The playbook, the new polling bolsters dump Biden push. The dump Biden push in Politico, which is a Democrat Party front group. The polling memo from Blue Labs Analytics is circulating among party officials. They have party officials. Yuri Andropov and Konstantin Chernyenko, I think, are their leading party officials. Still keen to convince Joe Biden to step aside and pass the torch, prevent his party from suffering what many fear will be a historic loss to Donald Trump. And it's kind of amazing. The alternative Democratic candidates ahead of the President Biden ran an average 3 points across battleground states, Biden losing nearly every tested Democrat platform. Listen to this now, nearly every tested Democrat, every Democrat they tested performs better than President Joe Biden in the polls. This includes Vice President Kamala Harris, who runs better than President Biden, but behind the average alternative. Like any other Democrat would do better than Biden, and any other Democrat would do better than Kamala Harris. Therefore, they're going to have to promise her a big pile of money to move her out of the way. Some of the gains coming from winnable undecideds, those previously supporting third-party candidates. However, alternative candidates also pulling votes from Donald Trump. These people, what a den of snakes the game of politics is. It's absolutely horrible. And again, remember the Hillary Clinton polling numbers show that she would do better than both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And so, what will they do? What will they do? And I pulled this story out again, too. Polls reveal how Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris would fare against Trump after Biden's debate debacle. This story is from July 9th when the polling came out. But don't think they've forgotten about it, because they haven't.
Do you want to run again?
No.
Wait.
No.
That was a pause.
Well, I'd like to be president.
Okay.
She'd just like to be anointed like, the fascist queen from a third world banana republic, because that's who she is. All right, let's get to JD Vance from last night. JD Vance at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin last night. He had a thing or two to say about Joe Biden as well.
Joe Biden has been a politician in Washington for longer than I've been alive, 39 years old. Kamala Harris is not much further behind. For half a century, he's been the champion of every major policy initiative to make America weaker and poorer. And in 4 short years, Donald Trump reversed decades of betrayals inflicted by Joe Biden and the rest of the corrupt Washington insiders.
That's all true. That's, it's good when you say things that are true. I think that's better than, like all the lies I just played Joe Biden saying to everybody he talks to at the NAACP and to BET. And then it turns out he's got COVID and he's a one-man super spreader, just to add injury to insult. First he goes and lies to them. Then you learn the next day, 2 days later, that he's a one-man super spreader for COVID-19. Joe Biden. JD Vance last night in Milwaukee.
Our movement is about single moms like mine who struggled with money and addiction but never gave up. And I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here, 10 years clean and sober. I love you, Mom.
This was an amazing moment. Mom looked like a lovely woman, smiling, happy, sitting with the Speaker of the House. She was a drug addict and an alcoholic when he was growing up. He had a very hard Scrabble upbringing in Appalachia, and I think they say Appalachia. I still say Appalachia. I'm old school. And Mom is there. And he had a wonderful suggestion that was very touching. He's a real person with a real background and a real upbringing. And then he has a good idea, after they win the White House, because Mom in the audience looking like Mom, and he's later hugging Mom, and it was a very sweet moment.
And Mom, I was thinking, it'll be 10 years officially in January of 2025. And if President Trump's okay with it, let's have the celebration in the White House.
In the White House, Mom, with the drug problems and the alcohol problems from long ago. And, a lot of families, if not most families, have some familiarity with all of this, at least. And remarkable stuff last night. JD Vance was great. Then he hilarious story. He talked because his mom was drug addicted and had all these issues. He was raised largely by his grandmother, and he told a fun little story about her too.
Mama raised me as my mother struggled with addiction.
Mama.
Mama was in so many ways a woman of contradiction. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word. I'm not kidding. She could make a sailor blush.
But that's not all, because they learned something after Mama's grandmother passed away in 2005.
Let me tell you another Mamaw story. Now, my Mamaw died shortly before I left for Iraq in 2005.
As a Marine.
And when we went through her things, we found 19 loaded handguns. They were...
in the grandma's house. Grandma's house, they found 19 loaded handguns. That's pretty good. That's amazing stuff.
They were stashed all over her house, under her bed, in her closet, in the silverware drawer. And we wondered what was going on. And it occurred to us that towards the end of her life, Mamaw couldn't get around so well. And so this frail old woman made sure that no matter where she was within arm's length of whatever she needed to protect her family. That's who we fight for. That's American spirit.
That was great stuff. A great moment. And he's a great natural politician, natural with crowds, a great speaker, and he speaks well. It was a great speech last night. Not a pretty good speech. It was really great. And he's going to be a big problem for the Democrats, too, as the memo circulates about how Joe Biden has to step down. And they're also saying Kamala can't win, and Hillary is clawing her way across the asphalt with a knife in her teeth and a blow dart gun in her backpack. You know that the financial world is in a state of upheaval with everything that's going on. It's time to consider how to adapt for the changing future. We just saw a seismic shift happen in the global financial world when Saudi Arabia announced that they may exit the petrodollar, because for the last 3/4 of a century, the petrodollar agreement, one of the keys to maintaining the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. But that era may be coming to an end because of what Saudi Arabia is talking about doing in times of major economic transition and upheaval. A lot of investors look to diversify with tangible assets, and that's why I recommend calling Advantage Gold. At Advantage Gold, well, they're the experts in precious metals, can help guide you through these difficult and uncertain financial times. So give them a call. Give them a call now. Write it down. Call them today. 844-368-9797 for a 100% absolutely free 2024 gold and silver kit. Plus, mention this ad where you heard this ad, and you may qualify for a $1,300 bonus. The financial landscape has already changed an awful lot. Check it out today. Make sure that you're prepared. Do the right thing and write this number down. 844-368-9797. 844-368-9797. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Yeah, great stuff, and more of JD Vance and whatever else we can get in the time we have remaining. Don Jr. was out there last night, too. all kinds of great people. We'll be right back. About 20 years ago in Washington News, ABC News, a big producer named Rick Kaplan had Cokie Roberts stand in front of a fake screen in Washington wearing a trench coat with the Capitol behind her, and they pretended she was outside and she wasn't. And it was a big news media scandal for years. Now MSNBC's whole episode covering the convention in Milwaukee is all fake. They're all in New York with a fake backdrop behind them. The fake has become the norm. And as my friend Marty raises a great question, who will drop out first, Joe Biden or Kim Cheadle, the director of the U.S. Secret Service? Which one will drop out first? Let's go back to JD Vance last night in Milwaukee.
When Donald Trump rose to his feet in that Pennsylvania field, all of America stood with him.
And at CNN, they're spreading conspiracy theories, I think. MSDNC also. It is an understatement to say it's bizarre that a presidential candidate has sustained an injury from an attempted assassination and no medical report is issued to describe his evaluation and the extent of his injury. Because normally when presidential candidates are shot and survive assassination attempts, we have the medical report within 3 days. These people are morons. It's 5 days now. JD Vance.
And what did he call us to do for our country? To fight. To fight for America. Even in his most perilous moment, we were on his mind. His instinct was for us, for our country, to call us to something higher, to something greater, to once again be citizens who ask what our country needs of us.
Imagine that. Ask not what your country can do for you, welfare case, illegal alien, Venezuelan gang member. But what you can do for your newfound country that you illegally broke into, the Democrat Party. I'm going to have 3 more hours of good stuff tomorrow, so I'll see you then.